Hello everyone, this is the Crimson Cure, welcoming you to the Crimson Tower, a place where we keep a feminine foot on the neck of the gynocracy, feminism, and black male misandry. So go ahead, pull up a chair, stay a while, and listen.
Hello. Walaikum assalam, Leon. Hey, Michael. Hey, Malika. Just gonna give people a little bit more time to get in. And of course, I'm never done posting everywhere. But today is my fault because I was loafing around instead of posting like I was supposed to. Get caught up reading the title of an article like, oh, wait, what's that about? That kind of stuff. So how's my Crimson Ice been doing? Y'all been doing all right? I'm saying that like I can hear y'all. Hey, Alonzo, how you doing? Hey, Fit Feminine, how you doing today, Miss Nicole, my sisterins?
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing much. It's kind of chilling out today. Did a lot of running around, but blank trips because I hate it when you go to the store and you go to a store that supposedly is gonna have at least the majority of what you want, and then you go and they don't have nothing, and it's like you got 2 items out of 10 items I came in here for. I am not standing in this line for 2 items and mad because y'all don't got the other stuff I want, and then I got to think about what other store, because I was trying to get some more like protein shakes and stuff. So I went to Whole Foods so I could get the ones that I wanted, and I wanted some collagen and yada yada yada. Mm-hmm. Stuff Whole Foods has.
Mm-hmm. Right. That you know they have. You walk in there like, what in the fugazi is this? What is going on?
Like, why?
Yeah, I've learned my lesson. I learned my lesson. I do the delivery or I do the pickup now because for different places because I'm tired of walking in there and it's like cleaned out, or I'm tired of ducking and dodging, coughing, people coughing in the aisles. I'm ducking and dodging people.
Right.
Like, I just walk out the store. I'll leave everything in the cart and just walk. Forget this. I walk out, leave it in the aisle. I'm like, if I really need it, I'm like, I'll deal with it. But yeah, I do pickup, a lot of pickups now, and they do the substitutions. Like if they don't have it, they let you know immediately. Like we do not have that product, and I'm like, well, if they don't have it at all, then like the name brand versus store brand, they'll say, look, we ain't got it. I'm like, okay, moving on. Mm-hmm. And that has helped me a lot. That has kept down my stress of like grocery shopping and just shopping for little things. Like men, you got to understand there's a difference between grocery shopping and just shopping. Mm-hmm. There's a big difference right there. It'd be like But you
Right.
only going you need to be spending like $80 for grocery. I'm like, that's what you think. $80 turn to 120 real quick.
Real fast, don't it? You go up in the store. That was 102.68. Like it was what?
Like what now?
Get 2 bags. What are you talking about?
Like we got 50% tax on everything. Like, oh dang,
Right.
that's
Like
what I
what
feel
kind
like.
of taxes y'all doing? And I never trust Illinois taxes. I think they always scamming and scheming in Illinois because they broke. So they steal from you through taxes. And I just can't stand it, and I really can't stand them taxing the bags and all that kind of stuff. Like, well, y'all really. But see, the pickup thing would work, but the problem with it is that I be already out.
Oh yeah.
I said, well, okay, let me go on and over here, and I'm already out. Just let me do all these errands while I'm gone. So when I get back to the house, I ain't got to come back out. I call myself lowering my stress. That didn't work today. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to leave these little couple of items here in Whole Foods. Somebody can take care. Because I went to Target first. Now, all I wanted out of Target, I wanted an assortment of things. But one of the main things I needed some business cards, printable.
Yeah.
And I needed, you know how they have them in the gift section? You have like little like them cello bags or whatever. I needed a little pack of them. They didn't have that, or the business card. How all y'all got is just little shipping labels and return labels. And I'm like, this is the big Target. This ain't like the little corner store Target. This is the big one. I'm like, okay. Oh, okay, y'all. Y'all really trying me today. Let me go home. That's when I know it's time for me to go home. I got to go home.
Right.
Y'all playing. Not gonna do it with you.
And then on top of that, they like don't have me in there and it's somebody with an attitude and they patting their weave and and they rolling their eyes because I asked you, especially Target, they get real bad about that. I'm like, you know what? This is Target. This ain't no Neiman Marcus or nothing. They at Nordstrom or something. I'm walking in there. This ain't a Versace store. You know what I'm saying? Like you walk in there and they it's like, hey, where the curtain rods? I want to change out the curtain rods and have different color, seasonal little things going on. And they like, because the season's about to start changing, so you gotta start changing your decor.
Right.
Your ambiance gotta change a little bit to match the flavor of the season. Right. And I'm trying to do that. And I'm like, I got a plan. And you sit here messing up my plans. I got my list and everything. And you about to mess it up for me. I'm about to stab you in the eye with this pen. I'm looking like, girl, where the curtain rods? And she's like, in the home section. You know how big the home section? I said, okay, the home section. Do you know what aisle exactly that is? Yeah, I can see home, but I mean,
Right.
And she was like, hold on, let me check. I'm like, okay. I said, you know what? Never mind. It's all right. Right. And she's like, okay, like she said, okay, like good, like I ain't gotta deal with her no more.
Right.
She'd go. I mean, how you gonna walk off patting your weave? Like that's crazy.
Right. Oh, she was about to be a complicated order.
Yeah. Like curtain rods.
Your own girl.
Curtain rods ain't that hard to find. I'm like, I shouldn't have to be going around. The attitude is not necessary.
No, it's not. So I guess
my life said ratchet retail.
Right. Hey, everybody that's coming in. Brilliance, Bishop, C Shield, Lionel. Hey, C. All right. It said, Brilliance said, what should us young Black men do when all of our elders have no integrity or principles? Welcome to the club of lionesses who had to learn how to be lionesses surrounded by a bunch of hyenas. And try to figure that out.
Especially the older ones that just yeah, they still out there, scrounging around looking for scraps. I feel for you. I'm gonna pray for you. I'll pray for you. That's all I'm gonna do. Like the old ladies used to say, I'm gonna pray for you.
Then please,
that's when you know you're not doing bad.
The
That's when you
old,
know you're doing bad. When old lady says she gonna pray for you, you
yeah,
like,
yeah,
dang,
old lady
my
said
life,
she's
my life is trash.
right. Said, baby, I'll pray for you, baby. It'll be all
I gotta
right.
get my life together. I gotta get my grandma say that. I'm like, oh, I gotta get my life together. I gotta make some plans. I gotta adjust some things. I like she be like, no, I don't mean like that. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. You meant it like that. You're 93 years old. You know you talking about something. Ooh, I'm gonna pray for you though. Now, let me get these beans on. Let me get my beans going. I'm like, dang.
Like, is that
It ain't the
bad?
same conversation with the beans. Mm.
Right, Seal. Bless your heart, baby.
Oh Lord, not that one. Oh gosh, not that.
You know, the Lord will make a
Like
way.
when they
Like,
see an
oh,
ugly,
okay.
yeah, when they see an ugly baby, they say that, like, grandma ain't no ugly baby. She's like, oh, bless your heart. You don't know. You don't know the babies I done seen in my life. I'm like, what? Or she'll say, oh, I bet you was an ugly baby. Bless your heart. I'm like, what? She'll say that to somebody. I'm like, grandma, you is not right. You're not right. But you're right. It's me, Steve. You said it. You hit the nail on the head.
You sure did. All right, so folks and chat room and everybody, y'all see the title. What we're doing: should Black men practice polygyny in this society? Thank you, Mr. Heat. So you seeing the topic? All right, so I be on Facebook, and lately it's been a lot of back and forth posts. I haven't been involved really. I think I made like one post somewhere, but it's been a lot of back and forth posts about polygyny and all of that. And while I didn't follow that conversation very closely, it kind of brought it to mind again, because some of the guys who were posting on Facebook about polygyny, some were against it, some were for it, some were saying, well, it does serve a purpose, some were saying, no, it don't. Men don't get much out of marriage to one woman, so definitely he's going to be drained if he marries more than one, and all of these other things. And I think one person's argument was, somehow, I don't know what kind of math they were using, but saying that practicing polygyny would make a deficit for the men. Like, there would be more men without women if polygyny was practiced widespread, which I didn't really get that, because usually there are more women than men, usually in a society, whether that's by a small margin or a large margin, but whatever. And so, but what I wanted to talk about that today was from this standpoint. Is it a practical thing to practice polygyny in this day and age, from not only from a monetary point of view, but also from an emotional or just understanding how to deal with women and women deal with men in this society? Is polygyny a viable thing to do? Because as you know, I'm Muslim. I'm actually for polygyny just because of my religious background. But we're not really talking about religion today. We're more so talking about just the relationship dynamics and all of those things. So I'm going to hand it off to Nicole just for your opening thoughts. Like, what do you think about polygyny in general, and then specifically for the Black community?
Yeah. Yeah, polygyny or polygamy, as people probably more commonly know it as, is where you have a man who has multiple wives. Okay. So we somewhat see that in a less organized fashion, where you have a man with, perhaps like he has multiple women who have children by him and whatnot, or Like men, like younger men at least, brag about having more than one woman. But polygyny is more of an organized thing. Of course, the reports say that more Muslim countries, countries where people practice Islam, would that would be more common. It's not just a religious thing; it's more of a cultural thing. And I think it would be a good practice. I know somebody in the chat, I think it was Brilliance, was saying it's a bad idea in this society. I don't agree that only the million multi-millionaires and billionaires would have women. That I don't think that's necessarily true, because right now, or past few years, I mean, women struggling out here. And I've said it before. I think you have said it before as well, Crimson Cure, on here, that the women that are not intelligent or able to adapt, they're not going to make it. If you are smart enough to, um, what's the word? Like, put yourself in a position where you can be protected and guided by a man who has the resources to take care of you and a few other women, then that's something that, and you feel that's something that's necessary for you. You can do that. Okay, you do that. For the Black community at this point, I don't think that would be a bad idea, because a lot of women, we've talked about it, they're losing their jobs, losing their homes, losing their way of getting by with their children. You already have children, or if you don't have children, as a Black woman, things are getting more difficult. The men are really the ones that, where it's flipping. The society's kind of flipping a little bit, where men are becoming more breadwinners, whether they're alone or with families. Because they're able to adapt faster and respond to the environment that's changing. So I don't think it's a bad idea. I really don't. Because in general, like I said, a lot of people are already doing that anyway. You have one guy with like 3 or 4 baby mamas. And that's not he may think it's an organized way of doing things, but it's really not, because if you're the man in the situation with 4 women who have children by you, that's 5 households that need to be regulated. Your own household as a man, and those other 4 households, where the children, more than likely, if they're young, are going to be living. Like, how that is almost an impossible feat, to take on. Not to mention the babysitter, the mama, the grandma, the aunties, and all these the cousins, they houses and stuff, and that just adds more problems and more stress and chaos to a man's life. And that's just how I'm looking at it. With polygyny, you're under one roof and under one form of leadership. The children are less likely to be confused and turn in different directions and stuff. So I think it is a good idea.
Right. Okay. All right, so we got a couple of super chats. Mr. Heat doubled up, saying 1 wife equals 1 problem, 2 wives equals 2 problems, 4 wives equals more problems. Thank you, Mr. Heat, and thank you, Ruminant. Ruminant says, under polygyny, the select men would rack up massive harems, leaving the non-select in the cold. The system in Islam counteracts this. It actually does, by limiting how many wives one man can actually have at one time.
Right.
So one man can run around with, I mean, you've seen this culturally. One man's got 50 wives. He can't possibly supply for or lead that many households of women or children without something slipping up and getting under his radar.
Right.
So in Islam, it actually limits it. But I want to go back to Mr. Heats, and he put some laughy faces. So I'm assuming this was sort of just tongue in cheek what he was saying. But I'm actually going to deal with it from a more serious point of view, because there are men who view wives and women as problems, not as women. And to them, I would say, you're not supposed to be dealing with women anyway. If women are problems to you, you shouldn't be dealing with one. at all, let alone multiple ones. You should leave them alone because you're in a place in your mind or heart or spirit where you can't tolerate or deal with no woman.
Right.
So if she's problematic to you just in her being, then you don't need to be dating, let alone marrying multiple women. And I'm not speaking to Mr. Heat, mind you. I'm just talking in a very, very general type of way. Terenzo Jones said, what would it actually solve is my question. As I don't have children, might someone be able to intelligently answer, please? Okay, so I think we need to start from the top. First of all, polygyny, let me start by saying this. No form of marriage is compulsory anyway in the society, whether we're talking about monogamy or polygamy anyway. All forms of marriage are choices in America. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, there's no gun to anybody's head. No one. We don't even culturally do that with arranged marriages and so forth and on. So every marriage was a choice, whether it succeeded, failed, was a horrible marriage, was a wonderful marriage, whatever the case was, it was a choice by those two people to get married in the first place. So like monogamy, polygyny is the same. That is a choice. A man makes that choice or he does not make that choice. So with that being said, not every man will be inclined to or want to deal with polygyny. And if you don't want to deal with it, you just simply don't. Just like monogamy, some men aren't going to get married at all, no matter what the structure of the marriage is. Doesn't matter. He's not going to do it because he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't see the benefit and he doesn't want to live his life that way. And so he's not going to. So polygyny actually doesn't change that landscape at all. But to talk about what issues it might actually resolve is there are women, not talking about the hyenas and all of that. There are women who are already sharing men.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is done in a very unorganized, many times a hurtful way that this is actually done. Okay. If there was more honesty, and this is kind of really what it boils down to. If there was more honesty on both sides, the men and the women need to be honest about the fact that they're sharing this man and stop trying to act surprised that Keisha is in his phone when you know he was talking to Keisha before he was talking to you. And you know he had a kid by Keisha and the kid ain't but 6 months old. So you know he's still dipping with Keisha. Stop. So stop getting mad that he's texting her and then he talks to her and then he goes over her house. You know what's going on because that's what was going on when you met him. You met him that way. And the men need to be honest and say, this is what I'm doing. I'm not even going to give you the illusion of monogamy because that's not what I'm doing. So you get to walk into a situation with your eyes open and say, okay, I want to be in this situation or I don't want to be in this situation. I want a situation where I'm sharing him. Okay. So it will, one of the issues in this society that it will actually end is a lot of that dishonesty and a lot of broken families because I kicked him out because he cheated and all of this other stuff when you ain't gonna do nothing but kick him out the house for cheating, but know that he's still over there with that chick and he come back and smash you every weekend anyway. See, that kind of stuff.
Right.
But that's just one aspect. So go ahead, Nicole.
That is one aspect, but that's a very important aspect because for me, when I look at polygyny, it's more of maintaining the I hate to say because people might cuss me out, but whatever. I've been cussed out before. Who cares? But like maintaining the sanctity of a woman, it's maintaining her womanhood in a way because when you look at or even uplifting her womanhood, because she could be married in a polygynous a marriage with a man and like maybe 2 other women, and she's maybe the third wife, but she's 18 years old, and they're like 20, 25, whatever. So she's the youngest. It's time for her to learn, basically grow up and be a woman about hers. And the women that are there, the sister wives that are there, they're the ones that gonna help her grow up. Yeah, the man is gonna give his guidance and leadership, but that's for the whole family. But really, they're gonna help her grow up. They're gonna help her. Like, she's not gonna have an opportunity to do what you just said. Like, there's not gonna be any chance for that. Well, I'm gonna go and I'm mad at you and I'm gonna kick you out. Who you gonna kick out? Who house is this? You gonna kick who out? Gonna kick them shoes out the door like that? What you gonna do? I bought them shoes, put them right there in the closet, and kick. You can kick rocks, like, that's the type of situation. You don't have much control, like, over like that type of dynamic in the relationship. You have control over what you do as a woman, but everything else over here, that's not your business. That's not your job. This is what was the movie? I think it was Joy Luck Club, the book and the movie Joy Luck Club, because this goes back to, China as well. They had this. You had the first, second, third wife, and it was a sister. It was really not really sister wife, but it was more, the women mentored each other. The first wife mentored the second wife, and so forth and so on. And usually it was age. The ages of the women were indicating that he married first wife maybe young, and she has grown with him the most, and she's passing down information to the other wives that are there and the children that are there. They're helping each other. I think it would really promote more Black women engaging with each other, like we call ourselves sisters and this and that, but I would prefer us to not to have a sisterhood of failure. And if it calls for having polygyny, because this is not, Kendra, you're not bringing up anything, as like, this is not a new concept for people who maybe not know. Africa has been in Muslim countries, is in China's, and I mean many different societies and cultures that have had this and still have this going on. It's not just Mormons or whatnot doing this type of thing, but I think being responsible about it is of course very important. You won't have that chance you won't really know what it is to be ratchet, in my opinion, because you'll be in a structure that is there to protect you, but also to correct you when necessary. You're not gonna go off on you're not gonna need to be corrected from ratchetness, but corrected in other ways that are more constructive, that you'll know to pass down to your children. Right. I think that's why I'm saying it is very important to look at this type of concept.
It is. And so I probably should have brought my notebook in here with my notes in it, but whatever. I forgot it in the other room, but we're going to try to work with my brain. We're going to see what that's working with today in my memory. Okay. One of the other things I think that polygyny addresses is the concept of possession. One person being able to possess another person. The concept of monogamy is not new. However, we, over the last few hundred years and the establishment of this culture, has put monogamy as the main or the only viable form of marriage, to the point where polygyny is like not heard of. It's weird to us, culturally speaking. We don't really grow up in those types of family structures, and when we hear about it, there are all of these different myths and legends attached to what polygyny is, what it means, what it does, who benefits from it, who doesn't benefit from it, and all of these different things. Because now in this society, if you bring up polygyny, the women are like, well, women don't benefit from that, only men benefit from it, because they're only thinking about the intimate connection. between it. Well, he gets to have more than one woman. Do I get to have more than one husband? And it's like it turns into a tit for tat when really it's not about that, or it isn't supposed to be. And I think it deals with the concept of owning people. Okay, because this concept has become dangerous. When we have people killing other people because they cheated, that's doing too much. He cheated on
Right.
me, so I'm gonna kill him. Well, if you feel like you gotta kill somebody because they made an intimate connection with someone else and you didn't like that, or you don't approve of that, or you feel that that broke the commitment to you, then that is going too far with the concept of ownership of that person.
Right.
With polygyny, that breaks because I'm sharing him and it's in my face. Even if we are not living under the same roof, because I'm going to tell you, having women in the same household is really not a good idea. They can be close, they can be in the, like if you have a compound or if they have some separate quarters or something like that, is actually best because it's like having blacksmiths working the same forge. Well, how
Mm-hmm.
I work the forge if you at the forge? You know what I'm saying? So since the women have sort of the same role when it comes to between them and the man, it's probably a good idea to give the women their own space because we rule the domain of the nest. We don't really see females of any species sharing the nest. They actually have a separate nest because I have to be able to run my nest the way that I want to run my nest. Of course, under the leadership of my husband, but still, you know, I might like the couch over here. She don't like couches or curtains. And it's like, okay,
Right. Right.
who gets to decorate the house then? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And then that kind of stuff is important to us because it might be very important that I have a specific type of ambiance in my home.
Mm-hmm.
And to another wife, that might not be important at all. To another one, it might be important, but she got a whole different thing. So I'm not going to digress too far down into that rabbit hole, but we get the picture. And so, but going back to the original point of ownership, it breaks the concept of I don't own him because he's already with another woman and she's right there. And I
Right.
know her. I've talked to her. We've had conversations with each other. I know he sleeps with her. I know he provides for her. I know they go out on date nights and stuff like that. So it's a lot to get used to when it's formal, when it's structured. We
Yeah.
kind of used to the bootleg way where I get to fight the other chick if I see her on site. You know what I'm saying? And all of that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff. And it doesn't foster any sisterhood, any real sisterhood. You know what I
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. Like with the decor and the women want to have their own nest, their own energy. We are nesting creatures, and so as women, we want to, like, this is mine. Have it, and it's not just that. It's also about identity. This is my identity, my domain. But I think it's also important, like when you said the compound, having a compound of different quarters for the women. And that's also right going right back to what I was just saying earlier about that. I just that movie was very vivid to me when Joy Luck Club movie. If you watch it again, I think it was like all the wives had their own little section, like their own little compound and whatnot and everything, and they did their own little thing. But when it came to like preparing food or preparing certain things for an event, then they all came together and they were on one accord. If there was one that was off of the standard protocol, it usually was the younger wife. Like out of the man had four wives, usually the fourth wife. And the first wife, it was her responsibility to say, "Hey, you the fourth wife. Like, F you doing? What you doing? Like, you supposed to be on protocol. You off code right now. You supposed to be on code and you're doing something that's not proper, you know. She had to, basically, yanking knot in her tail and let her know, hey, like, this is not how these things go. This is how this runs. And either you gonna get down and lay down, basically. That's how it is. And at that time, I think in that society, women were uh, seen more as commodities, and it probably was more about ownership. But when you're speaking about polygyny in general, it's that ownership possession thing. And I mean, look at it. We got women who married right now in a monogamous relationship. A man ask her to make can you make dinner tonight? Cook dinner tonight. I ain't no slave. I am not your slave. Don't you dare ask me to make you. They going off like that. I'm like, wait, you're a woman. That's your job. What are you talking about? So that may not be the woman for polygyny, because she can't even, do basic things with just one man, and it's just her and him. Maybe no children in the picture. So that those types of things, like, I think about that when I think about polygyny. Like, how does it work? Who would be an acceptable candidate for that type of relationship? And how would you go about maintaining those boundaries? And maintaining the boundaries automatically maintains the relationships. That's how I see it. Yeah, but I agree with what you were saying earlier.
Let me take a moment to acknowledge the super chats. Thank you. Malika said polygyny would be beneficial to our community, but many brothers and sisters need to be mature, selfless, and secure within themselves and the relationship. And let's see, Terenzo Jones. Thank you again, Terenzo. It says it's all PS, problem solution, psychological, although I'm not going to break this down further linguistically. But thank you so much. But what Malika said is very true. We wouldn't be able to practice polygyny in any structured way or in any widespread way because too many of us are broken individuals. Too many of us, the men and the women, are broken. We deny the heal. We deny the things that actually help us get over some of the traumas, the things that we didn't learn, the things that because our culture is broken, our homes were broken, and all of these different things, we actually would need to come together, or not, before we come together, we would need to individually seek out that healing on a wide scale. We would need to seek that out because a lot of us are insecure. A lot of us are broken. A lot of us are immature emotionally. You know what I'm saying? We're too immature or whatever. Because we've got a lot of women who are emotionally immature. I don't want to do it because she's being selfish. But then you have men that are also immature because he wouldn't understand what to do with more than one woman anyway. You've got some men that think polygyny automatically means menage a trois or something, or he can have group sex with all his wives and then they sex each other. He's thinking like that. Too many of us actually think of it from a sexual standpoint without understanding that it is the building of a small community, right? It's a small community wherein a man actually needs to be more emotionally mature, and his leadership needs to step up several notches because there's more than one woman. There's possibly children, different personalities, different ways that they're going to interact. So he might have wife number one who's kind of quiet and reserved. Wife number two is not like that. He's not going to be able to say, well, you should be more like wife number one. Maybe you should have married a one that was, but you married me, and I'm going to say what I want to say. You know what I'm saying? Now, she may not be necessarily being disrespectful, but she's more upfront than maybe one of his other wives or whatever. And he has to understand how to basically code switch, how to deal with her and her. You know what I'm saying? He has to deal with them differently. He has to be emotionally available to these women because if you take on more than one woman, the women have needs beyond food and clothing and shelter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just like one woman has needs beyond that, two women have needs beyond that, because we're still women and we're still looking for the same thing in a man. It doesn't matter that we're with the same man. He's just going to have to be able to provide more than one woman with that. And this is where the real, I think, demarcation comes from, because I think sometimes men get it, well, all the rich men are going to have women, or, you know what I'm saying, it's not going to be enough women left. It's enough men that aren't going to want to deal with that actually balances out, because he may want more than one sexual partner, but he knows that he doesn't want more than one woman as a wife, because he is not going to be available to her in all of the ways that he would actually need to be in order to make that relationship work.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just like you said, it's also about not just dealing with them, like taking that a step further. Yeah, you got to deal with it, because things can pop off at any moment. So you dealing with them, but in a certain way. Like if something pop off for the first time, and what I mean by pop off is like you said, first wife is maybe a little older, because in most cases it seems that the first wife is probably older. She's been with him longer, and her role many times is to teach and instruct and to guide them, the other wives, along based on his leadership and what he has already ordained as what will happen here in this household, what I am going to allow, right? And then it's like he recognizes that if maybe the first time things, go awry a little bit, he has to rein them back in. But at the same time, a man should, I'm not going to tell men what to do, but in my opinion, a man should recognize the strengths and weaknesses of the women that he's dealing with right there. How can I better equip the different women, not use, but how could I better equip the women with their different personalities and different experiences to make this even better? You know, this one's more outspoken and she likes to do things a certain way. How can I, mold that? How can that be beneficial to all of us together? This one's more quiet, but she's artistic. She's very creative. How is that beneficial to the children? How is that beneficial to all of us? This one likes to cook. How that's very beneficial to everybody, because she can help teach the others how to cook. For instance, this one has children, by me. Maybe the third wife is you got three wives. The third wife has two children by me, but she's not that good, she's not that good disciplining the kids. So maybe the second wife is good at disciplining the kids, and meaning that, the third wife with two children, she's like, well, I'm just gonna beat them. You can't just beat kids all day. You know what I'm saying? You can't go around beating your kids. And he's looking like, you keep beating the kids, then you come in here with me and want to spend time with me, and you got attitude. So that we can't have that. You in here, I can't believe he spilled all the pasta on the floor and I beat him for that. You ain't about to beat my kids. If I was a dude, I'd be like, no, you ain't about to keep beating my kids. So you need some counseling from an older wife to help you. Oh, I saw her do something with her, with our daughter, and when something happened and she didn't fly off the handle about it, maybe you can talk to her and see if she can help you, in that area. That's what I imagine that would be more beneficial. How can each of the women guide each other? But it's up to the man to be mature enough to recognize this ain't no menage a trois, this ain't no orgy type party. You got kids involved more than likely. So how do we make this a better, well-oiled machine that can work? Like you said, a small community that works on its strengths and weaknesses. And I'm saying weaknesses because that's what people normally would, associate with the opposite of strength is a weakness. But really, it's not a weakness. It's just a strength in progress. Like it may be a strength that's just on its way to becoming better. Maybe that, you beating your kids every day. That's what she dealt with. She has some trauma that she needs to deal with. In the meantime, this is a better way to deal with that particular type of situation. Maybe you can try this or try that. It's really about communication and trusting each other through those situations, and and keeping the man like less stressed, because more than likely he gonna be the breadwinner in the house unless everybody's working, which is that's fine too. But if he's the primary breadwinner, there, which he should be in this type of situation, then you don't want him having all this stress on him. He going to work, dealing with these crazy folks, and coming home dealing with your crazy behind. Girl, stop. Stop that. You are third wife, okay? Or you're sixth wife. Stop that. Like you sixth in line, honey. Like, what are you doing? Sit your ass down. And what I just said, sit your butt down. That's something that one of the wives would say, sit down and be quiet and take some instruction. And if you're not coachable as a woman, you don't need to be considering being with one man, much less being with a man and other women. If you can't take constructive criticism, that's important. That's all with communication and trust as well. Taking constructive criticism and seeing that, okay, I'm a work in progress. Being humble. Just being humble about it, and then going about it like, I learned something about myself today. Okay. Just keep it moving.
Right. Okay. I'm going to acknowledge this super chat real quick. Thank you to Renzo again. Said monogamy, polyamory, polygamy, and polygyny are all forms of light from the moon and DNA sun, which is every man, woman, and child in existence, is within our words of neuro-linguistic programming. TRW for war says, no, your program has to be off the chain financially and otherwise. More women, more problems. I'm dead serious. But any man getting married, his program would need to be off the chain for one, let alone for more than one. It doesn't change. If you're ready for one, you know what I'm saying? Like the same readiness you have for one is the same readiness you need to have for multiple, depending on which one you want to do, if you want to do any of them at all. So a man that's ready to lead and ready to lead a woman actually has his stuff off the chain, because otherwise, what is she going to follow if he doesn't have a structure prepared for her and a role prepared for her in his life? America Jones, he says, so if you have 8 daughters, will they be given away together or sold separately? This is sisterhood, right? Let me leave y'all alone. 10 sons, forget about it. I don't know if she's telling a joke or whatever, but
it's given away together or sold separately.
I guess she's
that sound like a Christmas toy commercial. Batteries sold separately or something. Like what? Okay. Yeah. If you have daughters, you have 8 daughters, you're in a polygyny or polygamous relationship. This marriage, this union that you have 8. If a man has 8 daughters, more than likely they're not going to be all the same age. So,
they're not going to be. I think it's cheeky.
Be a very busy man.
Sold and almost alluding to like polygyny, I guess, being some sort of slavery or some sort of something like that. I don't really know, but so they're sort of asking Fit Feminine, how do women improve the lives of men? Let me go back over this. Because I've gone over this before. What women bring to men are intangible things, because femininity and the nature of it and what it produces is intangible. But that does not mean it is not valuable. Because see, when we start telling y'all about the tangible things we can bring you, my degree, my 6-figure job, my this, my car, my house, you don't want to hear that. I don't care about that. That's not going to help me. Okay. Fine. I can get that on my own. I'm a man. I can do, okay. I get you. I got you. Good. I know. So now when you ask me what I bring that's not masculine, and I start telling you about my feminine qualities, see, we can't discount that and be like, oh, that's not nothing. Because if it was nothing, men would never complain about women at all, ever. Because they don't want or need anything that we have. However, we are a pair. The male and the female are pairs, whether you like that or not. We're not going to override hundreds of millions of years of evolution, all right? And what has worked for the human race. Women bring the intangibles of our femininity. And when you have a good one, those intangibles actually have a tangible consequence and a result in your life. Because when we intangibly mess with you, it has a tangible effect of stress, breaking you down from the inside out. So if a woman has the power to break you from the inside out, then we also have the power to support you from the inside out. But I guess you didn't think about that.
Absolutely. That's right. That's absolutely right. And whatever you can break, you can build. I mean, you can break somebody. You're right. Inside out, you can build them up. It's about your choice. What are you choosing to do with your life, with your time? You know, you're choosing to hurt this man for what? Like, break somebody down for what? How is that helping you? You ain't getting paid off of that. You ain't getting no kind of like, what are you getting from that? Nothing. You have another man that's broken because of you. Like, congratulations. You the queen of the dirt pile. You know, you done
Right.
burn the house down, and then you turn around. This mine right here. Ain't nobody gonna touch this. This mine. I'm the queen of this. King Kong ain't got nothing on me.
Right.
You dummy. You big dummy.
Right.
What
You
you done
big
did?
dummy.
What you done did? Like, what are you doing with your life? That's not you right. Like, everything you're saying is absolutely correct. You cannot think that that's okay. That is not okay. And I mean, the whole thing about it is like, people, a lot of people are very, very immature. I don't, it's sad. A lot of people don't realize, that they're so immature, and they need healing. They need these words of wisdom that you're giving them. You know, they really do.
Mhm.
They may not, and it's not just the fact that they may be ignorant to certain points, but also, you know, they may not, you know, they may be on a journey to fix things and repair stuff and heal, but it's like, it doesn't hurt to get more wisdom on the way. It don't hurt you to
No,
get that.
it does not. It does not. And to go on as well,
Mm.
because y'all gonna get me the cooking about femininity. I'm real deaf on this femininity now, because I shall not have femininity downplayed. It is not to be downplayed. Let me let y'all in on a little game. When you are bringing the divine masculine, nothing can show up but the divine feminine to match you. All other lesser forms of femininity actually have to go away, even if they enter your space. If she is not able to ascend to divine femininity when you have divine masculine, she's going to have to leave your space, because she can't exist within the environment you've created. Just like a low-level dude is always going to attract a low-level female, because she can get right with them with the foolishness. Both of them goofy, so she get right with them. But when you're and the same is true with femininity. When you're working with the divine feminine, a dude that's not carrying the divine masculine can't come to you. He can't exist around you, because he doesn't understand what to do with that energy. it might attract him, it might excite him, it might bring like, oh my God, this woman, but the practicality of what he is to do with you and how he really is to build with you, or how he is to utilize you, he doesn't know. So then he has to actually step back away from you, because he doesn't, it's like a man that's not equipped to deal with the divine feminine is like a person that goes up to a big earth mover and ain't never been trained to do it. It's an awesome machine, but they don't know what to do with that tool. They don't know how it works. You can put him in the seat, but he don't know what these levers do. And he about to test some stuff up if he can get it started. He gonna test some stuff up.
Right.
So he's not gonna know what to do. But a man that understands what to do with that earth mover, he gonna get in and start moving the earth with that tool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. He's not just gonna be awed by the fact that this is a huge machine. He gonna climb into it and say, I know what to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
I know what to do with this. So this is actually the same either way. When you have, when you got work to do on your masculinity or your femininity, when you keep attracting what you consider low level men or women. And it's like, it's something going on with the energy that you have, because you're attracting broken people. You're attracting people that you consider to be less than, or less than you want, or less than you think you deserve. So therefore, if you continue to attract these types of people into your life, romantically, then you need to take a mirror. You need to take a step back, look in a mirror, and figure out what's going on with this reflection. Because the people that you choose are a reflection of who you are. And if you keep choosing dusty dudes, or you keep choosing dusty females, it's something in you dusty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you were saying like using the earth mover, and a man that knows how to use it, he's gonna use it properly. He's gonna prep it properly. That's the dating phase, y'all. We're dating, we just get to know each other, figuring out what's going on. And then now you're in the thick of it. You're in the driver's seat, so to speak, and you're using the right levers, the right controls, the timing is right, and things like that, because you know who you are. You've dealt with all of those demons, you've dealt with all those issues, and you're having more, you're enjoying yourself more with this person that you're getting to know. And then you have to maintain it. You got to maintain, this is a well-oiled machine. Your relationship is a well-oiled process that you're going through. You have to maintain that relationship. So that comes in. All this is with maturity, and you're going to make mistakes here and there, but once you get to a point where you're like, okay, I know what I'm doing, having that confidence, know what you're doing. You're right. Like a lot of people, they're going through these situations, and I can't, like, of course I can't speak to men like that, but a lot of it is maturity. A lot of it is knowing yourself. Like when a man really knows himself, in my opinion, it seems like he knows himself, and he won't make a lot of these foolish mistakes. He won't have a lot of these foolish ideas of what we're talking about with polygyny or relationships in general, and things work a lot better for him. He won't. Yeah, he sees the ratchet, but he's like, that's not for me. I don't have time to waste.
Mm-hmm.
My life is short, and people are born every day. People die every day. I gotta think about my life, think about my legacy, think about what I'm leaving behind. I can't leave anything behind with her. But you're right. If you are not reflecting, if you're not looking to see, why do I keep getting these dusty broads? Well, you're going to the same bar every Friday. It is called Club Dusty. Why you keep going there? Like what you think gonna happen? Like you going to a club called Sparklers. Come on, man. Like what you think you gonna get in there? You can get a bunch of girls with, they just doing whatever. They don't they're not thinking about a legacy. They're not thinking about a future. They're thinking about right now. And you are Mr. Right Now. If you don't want to continue on that path, got to grow up. You got to see, okay, how do I get to where I want to be? You have to let go, release that ratchetness within you, release it, like let it go. It's holding you down. Let that mess go. It's the anchor on your holding a weight holding on your ankle, and you're in the water trying to get out. And that's you have to cut that loose to free yourself. Only you can free yourself. Nobody else is going to do that for you, because people don't know your experiences. They don't know what's in your heart. They don't know what's in your mind. But I think when as a woman, when I can recognize a man has done all those things, he's gone through those processes, it's very attractive. Like, not in a sexual way, but it's attractive where it's like, wow, I could learn something from him. Just the fact that he's gone through that process, I'm learning from him at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing, like, it's not like we're talking or having a conversation about something in particular. I'm just observing him and learning from him through my observation of him. As a female, that's very important, to have that. And I look at the man, I'm like, I know he has a good wife at home. I know he has a good wife. And these are men I have never talked to. I just observe what they're doing. I'm like, I bet he has a good wife at home, or, I know he in a good relationship, like, I know she's well taken care of. And you can just tell that. And that's a man that knows who he is. He's gone through all of the rigmarole of, mess and ratchet city and everything, perhaps. Or maybe he hasn't. Maybe he's pushed past all of that, and he knows what's going on, and he's got his head on straight. But yeah, this is a good conversation right here.
Thank you, Michael. Wesley said, if you can't bring forth her divine feminine, don't. I think he means don't do the polygyny thing. It's me, C. Thank you. So I love the principle of divine masculine and divine feminine. Since I first heard you mention that, I use it as a gauge to balance myself when I feel tension or discord in my marriage. I'm glad that I might do a show about what exactly I mean by divine masculine and divine feminine. Also, I may, just to go further into it. But I want to address something. Yeah, right said, he was addressing fit feminine over 40. So I'm not trying to deal with women who need to heal. I'm looking for women that have not been broken. Unfortunately, these women barely exist in America. Those women barely exist in the world.
Right.
Men too. Because to be broken isn't necessarily always a bad thing. If you've lived life at all, and your life may not have been a sheltered one, or one where you've had things relatively easy to be given to you or to come to you, you've probably had some situation that either broke you or it came close. It gave you some type of something that you needed to deal with. Everybody has gone through something that they needed to deal with. Because in order to say that you need a woman that has never been broken, that also means you have never been broken or needed to heal anything.
Right.
And that's not really real across the world, except for a few people who can go through life and reach adulthood and say that nothing happened to them that actually would break them. I had a very traumatic childhood that broke me in certain ways. That didn't make me unworkable as a wife, though, or as a woman. I had to come and heal even during the marriage. There were things I needed to address for myself. And I wasn't necessarily looking for him to address them for me, although his support was greatly appreciated and necessary. But I had to address those things myself. And I did. And his support was integral to that, because I don't think that I would have been able to address some things without any support at all. So So a woman who has had some brokenness in her life, as long as she has done the work, that's what's important. Not to not be broken, but to have done the work to come back. Because a person that ain't never went through nothing, they don't know what they made of. They don't know what they made of because they ain't been through no trial. They ain't been through no fire to know what they got. You know what I'm saying? You know what you got when you've been through something. And it's like, okay, I know who I am. It helps you figure out who you are and who you're not. And if
Right.
you're paying attention, it helps you to figure out what you need to work on. Like, okay, I needed this tool, but I didn't have it. So let me find that tool. Let me find what I need so that if I come up against something like that again, it won't break me. I'll be able to actually deal with it in a positive way and not have all these destructive coping mechanisms and all of these isms and schisms surrounding it. I'll be able to actually just go through that fire, that trial, and come out the other side of it with a victory. Because everybody gonna go through something, and something breaks you. Everybody has a breaking point. Everybody.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you don't go through anything in your life, or I wouldn't say don't go through anything, but if you don't observe anybody going through anything during your life, you lying. You're a liar and you need to get away from me. But that's how I feel. Like I'm not gonna sit around here and like let you lie to me like that, because you have seen somebody go through something, you have learned a lesson. And if you're that type of person that say, well, I ain't never been through nothing, I don't know what y'all talking about, I can't relate. Okay, keep living. Because if you have not gone through anything and had those trials and tribulations like Kendra's talking about, and you have not, you know, come out on the other side, you might come on the other side injured. You might come out on the other side with your head bandaged up. You going through this battle and you come out with a limp, or so you got a little limp for a week or something. But you went through it and you came through and you learned something and you're stronger for it. But if you're the type of person that says, well, I ain't never been through this and that, if you live long enough and go through something, it might tear you down where you can't come back. Because it's so devastating to you because you haven't had the experience to fight off little battles here and there and fight through this and fight through that and deal with things here and there and learn how to cope with what you've learned from those particular situations. It could destroy you. You get to like 25 years old, finally have some type of real life experience, and you're just like, I can't deal with it. You can't run to your mama at that point. You have to deal with it on your own. And the what I'm trying to say is, like, if even your best solution to the problem might not work at that point because you haven't gone through anything. You haven't been I wouldn't say traumatized, but you haven't been challenged on anything. And I fault your parents in a way because they didn't put you in a position where you could have any of those learning experiences. You've been coddled and babied and just protected and overprotected. You got a helicopter mom or whatnot is going on when you're younger. You get out there and you're just like a little little baby rabbit,
Mm-hmm.
in a forest full of lions. They're like, hey, what's up? We smell you a mile away. What's up
Mm-hmm.
with you? It's like, hey guys, gullible and everything, ain't been through nothing. And just, hey, what's going on? I'm a rabbit. Yeah, we see you.
Right.
Yeah, we smell you. Yeah, we saw you before you saw us. We here. We see what's up. That's how it is in the street. It's dog eat dog a lot of times. And you haven't, if you say you haven't observed how people have gone through things, like I said, you lying. You've seen people deal with trials and tribulations and deal with suffering.
Mm-hmm.
If you've observed people in your life dealing with those problems, and if you didn't use your brain to reach out a hand and help them, just helping them puts you in that experience, it puts you in that situation. If you didn't reach out, try to help them, you can kick rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you go through something, I'm gonna be like, wow, wow. I'm gonna pray for you. Wow, that's crazy right there. Woo, like I don't know. I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? I will probably help you because that's just me. But, before I help you, I'm gonna drag you for a minute, drag you a little while. I will drag you a little bit, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna dust you off. I'm gonna give you $50. All right, I'm gonna pray for you, but holla and drive off, that type of thing. But I will drag you a little bit because it's like you need some experience. You need some experience of pain right here, but I'm, being serious about it. That's how I would do, but that's just me. But other people be like, well, dang, you got to learn. You must learn. This life is not easy. It's hard out here. And everybody does not make it, physically, spiritually, emotionally. Everybody does not make it. You have to go through those things. Don't necessarily put yourself into a dangerous situation, but things happen, and it's every day you wake up on this side of the dirt. It's a test, a testament to your fortitude as a man or a woman. Are you gonna make it home today? You going out in the wild? Are you gonna use the skills that you've been hopefully gathering and organizing in your mind for the past how many ever years you've been alive? Are you gonna use that to your advantage, or are you gonna slip up and fall through the cracks? Like, it's your choice.
I'm gonna address right, because I think there's a little bit misunderstanding or miscommunication. I'm not saying that there's something wrong with somebody who isn't broken, because he said many Muslim sisters outside of America were raised in a nuclear family and a community of nuclear families. These women are typically unbroken. They are protected by their fathers in the community. And that's wonderful. That's the ideal, right? That's the ideal state, where a woman grows up in a family structure, community, or a society that protects her largely from some of the most damaging parts of life, or things that she could possibly go through. And to those women, I say, mashallah, Allah spared her from having to go through things that will break her. But he didn't spare me that. I went through fire. I wish I had been able to be protected from the mental, physical, and psychological, verbal, and emotional abuse that I endured for the totality of my childhood into adulthood. I wish that I had not been assaulted to take my virginity. I wish I had not gone through that. I wish that there had been some protection for me away from that. I don't believe that women have to go through the most horrible things in order to build some type of character. I don't believe that. However, for those of us who grow up in an environment that in every way, shape, or form was supposed to break us and we don't break, that is also strength, because we have been challenged and we have overcome it. And to have overcome it, this environment, as a woman, and have your head on straight, have some dignity about yourself, have some love about yourself, have some femininity, have some understanding of your purpose, have some understanding of what you're supposed to be doing in this world and how to do it right. That too, I will honor that. I will honor that, because I honor myself. And I honor other women and men who have gone through so much hell and still are like, I overcame that and I'm good. Did I like all of them experiences? No. But did they help build me? Yes, they did. When they could have broke me, and it didn't. So there are a lot of us who don't grow up in the ideal place or under the ideal circumstances. So I'm not saying there's something wrong with growing up in the ideal circumstances. They're ideal. Of course, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you had to go through a bunch of stuff and a lot of that stuff not under your control, you can't control the circumstance and condition. You can only control what you do in those situations and how you respond to those situations. So I just wanted to sort of clarify that.
Yeah, I mean, I might be mean when I say this, but you know, you shouldn't have to even explain yourself, because the things you're saying on here are very clear. And like, it's so clear. Like, I thank you for sharing with us what you just said and everything. But honestly, you shouldn't even have to say explain yourself even further than what you were already saying. It's like people try to, like, that's one thing I don't like. If people coming on here, they act so like they just don't know what's going on. The argument there's contrary to be contrary. As if they don't get it. And that's fine. If you want to be ignorant, you want to sit there like you don't know what's going on, that's fine. But that's just, it's just like, don't do it. Like, why you got to come over here and do that? I mean, I understand what the person is saying, but that's not everybody's situation. That's not most people's situation now. What you were saying, like that is, it's sad that is that happens so much. What you went through, what you had to endure, what you came through, what a lot of us have come through, had to deal with. And this is one of the purposes, I think, for the discussion on the topic, to hopefully prevent those types of things, or do as much as you can to keep down that nonsense, to keep that type of thing down, and to keep that family role there, to keep that a protective role, a protective house for the children. That is structured, that is healthy, that is organized, that is not chaotic, that is not ignorant, that is not abusive, that is not stereotypically Black, because that's how we're seen. People assume that we don't know how to raise kids, we don't know how to have families. It's like, a lot of times people, like, I just like, you explain something and people, it's always something. What? It's always one that got to be there. Like, always one. Like, well, I'm gonna make sure I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, you know what I'm saying? You just not go. I just don't know nothing. Like, okay, I understand the points and everything, but if you understand standard, like the current statistics in this country, around the world, like you said, and around the world, that is not the standard. How do you get back to that type of relationship, that type of family dynamic? Not quickly, because humans don't work well with things that move too fast. But how do you get back to that type of nuclear family the safest way possible? How do you do that? This is one way. That's why I said earlier, I think this is a good option.
Because it definitely addresses that single mother thing. Because if all these dudes baby mamas calm down and he gets some maturity, they could live, and none of the women will be single and the children will have a father.
Hello.
That's already their biological father. You know what I'm saying? He's already that You can't change that. So you might as well make the environment work because the decisions have been made. Ruminant, thank you, Ruminant. Michael says, if you are unable to heal broken women, don't take on more women. Ruminant said, please speak to the difference between being broken and having a broken vessel.
Mm.
I will. Being broken or having things to break you, that is a temporary state of being. And I'm going to speak upon that from the female point of view only. When you have situations that break your heart or break your spirit, that is or can be a temporary situation. A broken vessel is a woman who is broken at the foundation of her womanhood and her personhood. Something has happened to her, or she has encountered some circumstance that was so traumatic to her that it broke her at the foundation of her feminine being and her personhood. It breaks the mind. Okay, it breaks the mind, which in turn has an effect on the soul of that woman. Many times when she is a broken vessel, not cracked, not with a little fissure in it, broken, she is unable to be made whole again. But she lives and breathes, so she has to be some sort of functional. When a woman has a broken vessel, there's something that is taken from her that is fundamental, and sometimes something you can't name that can't be given back because it wasn't anything that should have been taken in the first place. Like things like a little girl being assaulted when she's little, like little, and she don't know what's going on. And that happens to her. Maybe it happens more than once. That is a situation that could potentially break her vessel. She doesn't know what to do. There was no heal right behind it. See, in order for a little girl to go through something that traumatic, she would need to have protection and healing immediately. Like if she told somebody, this happened to me, and somebody comes in and protects her immediately and then starts working with her, she actually probably can avoid being a broken vessel. Although the situation might have broken her heart, it might have broken her spirit. Temporary situation. Does that make sense? I'm hoping that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because she's at the point where she's not able to understand what happened to her, what she was supposed to do. She's really small. Then she doesn't have the mental capacity to know that this is wrong. So yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like that, especially if it happens over and over, and particularly if it happens from somebody that they're supposed to trust, like a family member. You know, that's really hard. Because then it's like, even though nobody else in the family knew, it's like this happened to me. It was so traumatic. Later on, realizing it's so bad, it's so traumatic. But you would think that a child's mind is like, nobody tried to find out what was wrong with me. Nobody tried to help me. Nobody saved me.
Mm-hmm.
This person's right here. Every day I see this person, and nobody tried to save me. So that can harden your spirit. That can make you very hard.
Definitely.
It really can make you want to because that vessel is broken. It's tried to be put back together, but the crack is always there. You can always see where it broke, it fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that will always carry with you. You can cover it up with, make cosmetic changes to cover it up and sand it away, but that is there. Permanent scarring there. But yeah, you making sense on that.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that what I was saying made some type of sense. Thank you, SCA, for the Cash App. So we're going to start wrapping this up. So what I want to do is hand it back over to you, Nicole, for any final thoughts about anything that we've been talking about, polygyny or whatever's on your mind. Some final thoughts, sister.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me again. Um, it's always it's always great to be in your presence, and everybody in the chat. Everybody is cool in the chat and whatnot. I appreciate y'all being here. Um, this is a good topic to have, and I'm glad we went into the protection piece somewhat with the children at the end, because you would have less of that happening with the assaults and the egregious attack of children that I can't deal with, um, because it has touched me, in my life. So I really do understand that. Like, I really see that polygyny would be a good option. Of course, like we said earlier, a lot of the people that you would think would be, well, there's certain people that would be eligible for that type of lifestyle, and they know who they are. Maybe they don't just yet, but they know, like, this is probably will work for me, and that they go from there. I'm not trying to promote anything, but I just see where if a concept is logical and it makes sense, then that's probably what you should consider for yourself. As far as a family dynamic, we've spoken about that, and that's very important to recognize. And then there's other points of life and a community that would be, I believe, enhanced from polygamous, relationships, more polygamous relationships. Education is one, of course. I think nutrition is another one that would be enhanced, because you have different people that are putting in on maintaining or improving nutrition with the children and the women and stuff like that. Having a small community working together,
Mm-hmm.
which then is passed down to the children, and promoting that legacy building that a lot of men talk about. So yeah, but I do think it is a very positive concept that is used right now, like you said, throughout many other societies around the world, that people are practicing this and they are successful. The only issue is that if more Black people do this in the United States, it's going to be a lot of angry women. But what else is new? That what else is new with angry women? But I can see it. I can see it working. I'll leave it at that. I could see this working as a concept in Black society.
Okay. Well, it's always a pleasure having you. You know what I'm saying? We took our little hiatus for the holidays and things like that, but we're going to get back on the ball and have some really good topics for our audience so they can see how women have conversations, what we really think about these different topics that we bring up and all of the things that's going on around us, because we are not burying our heads in the sand. People, we see it and we have opinions on it. And every once in a while, we might have a solution for some of this stuff. And I do think that polygyny addresses a lot of ills in our community, but it must go hand in hand with the maturity and the healing. Shout out to Sheep Stay Sleep TV. We got to heal before we build. And polygyny is kind of one of those things that perfectly illustrates that, because it is a type of build, but you have to be healed in order to do that build, or else it doesn't work. Because I've even seen Muslims try to do it that were not healed, and it doesn't work. They can't make it work because they have some internal things going on that they have not addressed. You can't address all these other things if you haven't addressed yourself first. So thank you, Miss Nicole, for coming through and helping me have an awesome show. You're always welcome here. Always great to have a conversation with you.
Thank you. Likewise. Thank you.
And with that being said, everyone, before I go, what you want to do is go down into the description box and hit the link for A Game, okay, at agameherbal.com. Go ahead and get your 10% discount using the code Kendra10. It is a male herbal solution. So all the guys, do yourself a favor and give yourself the gift of better health, and the women as well, give the men in your lives the same gift. And with that being said, my little Crimsonites, peace out.
Peace.
Hey guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And if you've got more to say on the topic, leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to support our sponsor, who so graciously supports this channel by clicking the description box and the link for A Game at agameherbal.com. You can go ahead and get a 10% discount off of your next purchase using the code Kendra10. This has been yet another Crimson Cure production, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.